People are angry about the death of Charlie Kirk. Video by The Poor Man's Podcast Reacts. Let's check this out, man. He titled it People, but pretty much everyone in this video is black. So it's really just black people who are angry about the death of Charlie Kirk. Let's see what these brothers and sisters have to say, right? Here's Rampage Jackson.
Charlie Kirk died. It's sad. For having an opinion about things. The guy went to colleges and was having opinions.
Right.
Sick world we live in. That's the true animal.
Yeah, man, it's truly very horrible. It's reflective of where we are as a society, the health of our society. Truly, this person, whoever did this, they should be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law.
He'd be locked up in a cage. He don't have a frontal lobe.
If you're not familiar with Charlie Kirk, he's a very prominent figure.
Now, this guy is a very anti-black, sellout kind of guy. Andrew Williams.
Politics, and has been for the
or
last 10 years.
Andre Williams. We did a video about him.
So, first I'm going to say, praying for his family. I'm praying for his wife, his children, everyone around him. The second thing I'm going to say, these are really politically...
Yeah, and that's real. You know, when this first happened, and you can watch my video that I posted yesterday, right when it happened, you can actually see me learn in real time that Charlie Kirk had been assassinated. You could see the sheer shock and disbelief that I experienced. But what you didn't see, I didn't play for you, was the emotional roller coaster that I experienced afterwards. Like, there was a portion of time, right? A short portion of time where I truly was sad as someone who disagreed passionately with pretty much every position that he has. I believe this man was a bigot. I believe this man was spreading very harmful and very just terrible ideas that divided people, that bred hatred for other people. But I was still sad. I instantly thought about my wife and my kids. Imagine if someone took me away from them because of something they didn't like me saying on the internet. I mean, people have been packed up for shit far less than what I've ever said or even what Charlie ever said, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people who just get in little back and forths on the internet that lead to someone dying. And so I was sad, right? So condolences to his family, most importantly, his daughter and his son, because they don't know nothing about the shit that Charlie was pushing. They don't know shit about white replacement theory, which is something he believed in.
You know what's dramatic? The invasion of the country. We're going to talk more about that. We're going to talk about how the other side has openly admitted that this is about bringing in voters that they want and they like, and honestly diminishing and decreasing white demographics in America. We're going to say that part out loud because so many people in the corporate media are afraid to talk about it.
They don't know nothing about stoning gay people, which is something he said.
Is in Leviticus 18, is that thou shalt lay with another man shall be stoned to death. Just saying. So, Miss Rachel, you quote Leviticus 19, love your neighbor as yourself. The chapter before affirms God's perfect law when it comes to sexual matters.
They don't know anything about this whole idea that people dying, innocent people dying from gun violence every year is worth the current status quo in regards to how America treats arming the public.
You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. Nobody talks like this. They live in a complete alternate universe.
That's something he said. They don't know no shit about that. They just see their daddy. You know what I'm saying? That's all they know. And now daddy ain't coming home no more. And so that made me sad, man. So condolences to his family.
Radicalizing times, politically polarizing times. Watching someone like Charlie Kirk, a prominent figure in politics, conservative politics, left or right, doesn't matter, getting assassinated in the modern day is something that is very, very disturbing. If you think our society is going to return to this, we're going to get along and we can have a debate, the debate is over. The conversation is ended. And it's clear from an assassination like this that there is no more room for conversations anymore.
Okay, so because of the actions of one psycho crazy person, the national discourse is over. Conversation is precisely what we need at that point in time. Better communication is precisely what we need at that point in time. When you stop talking, that's when shit gets worse and things really fall apart. Now, you can take that option when you're in a relationship with a girl because you could break up and find a new girlfriend. But as a country, we can't break up. The last time they tried that shit, the number was far greater than I anticipated. Approximately 620,000 to 750,000 people died during the American Civil War, a war that lasted 4 years. That's what happens when people stop talking in the way that this guy suggested.
The other side does not want to have a conversation with you. They want you dead. And this is something that they have written out a long time when they tried to kill the fucking president. I'm going to say this. We do not live in time.
One guy. We're taking the actions. See, what if the people on the left had this attitude every time a black church got shot up or a gay nightclub got shot up? We said, oh, they want to kill all of us. And let's say he was a progressive, far left, radical liberal. How are you going to allow that one individual to now speak for everybody, especially when pretty much every person on the left with a platform has come out and disavowed this and has acknowledged that this was a horrific and evil and wrong act.
Of peace. We live in times of uncertainty. Well, the one thing we must be certain of, we will not allow people to wipe us away because of what we believe in, because of what we know to be true. We need to hold true to ourselves and not hold back in saying what we believe in, to go forward and continuously push against those who want to wipe us away just because we believe in something different or something greater beyond ourselves.
Charlie Kirk got shot in the fucking neck. That was the last bastion. I can't be a liberal no fucking more. You see the fucking comments? I hope the gun is okay. The same fucking people asking for moral decency. I cannot in good faith align myself with you guys anymore. I once had a headache. You'll be all right. Because you don't agree with him politically?
Now, here's the thing. This guy was never a liberal. This guy's not progressive. He was always on the right. This guy has always identified with that side of the spectrum. Why? How many conservatives become liberals after a black person is shot, or after a school shooting, or after people don't abandon their ideologies, their morals, their values, their principles because of the actions of one deranged person who happen to identify with some portion of your ideology. People don't do that. You don't now say, oh, gay people don't deserve rights. You don't now say women shouldn't have access to various forms of healthcare. You don't now say lower income people need assistance, financial assistance to be able to climb up that capitalistic ladder. They need a little bit of assistance in the beginning. You don't abandon all of those beliefs because one crazy person shot a conservative political spokesperson. So this is actually when people in the black space talk about CIA agents and undercovers and ops. This is what they're talking about, because you abandon all of your principles, your ideological principles, because of the actions of one person who you don't even know if he's even on your team. Let's not forget that Charlie Kirk was very much hated by the KKK. See, Charlie Kirk is hated on both sides because there are people who, for instance, Charlie Kirk was a very strong advocate for Israel. There are a lot of people on the far right who hated Charlie Kirk. But you without any information or knowledge of who this person is, you're saying, oh, all of these ideas, time to turn on that? No. Just as there are many people who regretted voting for Trump, used the Epstein situation as what seemed like a reasonable excuse to jump ship, when in all reality, their heart had left the movement a long time ago because they realized that this guy was not who they thought he was, and this movement was not what they thought it was. I think there are a lot of people who are closeted conservatives and MAGA guys and Trump supporters and all of that who are going to use this as an excuse to jump ship and come out and say, okay, you know, give me that red hat.
Okay, whatever happens next in retaliation, whoever did that shit, I hope they throw the whole fucking book at you.
Yeah,
No.
this guy deserves, I mean, if they had the death penalty in Utah, he would deserve the death penalty. You don't go around fucking killing people, guy. This is not how, first of all, on a metaphysical level, this shit is beyond backwards and stupid. Anything you desperately try to obtain escapes you. This is not living from the end. The person who ever conducted this is living in a reality where they feel as if Charlie Kirk and people like him are standing in the way of them living the life they want to live today, or living in the world they want to live in today. This is not living from the end. This is living in the illusion. And so that person, all he did was push it in the other direction. But more than that, he committed a heinous crime and deserves to be punished by the greatest extent of the law. Utah still has a death penalty. I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying, blink if they hit him with that or gave him life in prison. You know, make an example out of the guy. This is not how we solve problems as a society.
Whole fucking book at you. Why I did not agree with his views, when you put violence in the fucking middle of the equation, all this shit goes out the window. Everything.
All that shit goes out the window. So civil rights for various groups of people who've been historically oppressed, that goes out the window because of a crazy person who had their own motivations, who might not even be progressive or liberal. I mean, the average conservative, when some white far-right incel teenager goes and shoots up a building, a school of toddlers, they don't identify with that nigga. They don't say, oh yeah, that was one of us. They say that was some fucking psycho. That person don't represent the Republican Party, is what they would say. That person doesn't represent the grand majority of conservatives, and that's the reality. The grand majority of conservatives aren't, you know what I'm saying, thinking the solution to whatever problem is in their life is to go and shoot up some public venue. But that's what you're going to do to the left? Sounds like you're just looking for an excuse, man.
That you stand for goes out the fucking window. Who's next? Candace Owens? Take that shit as a warning. Stop doing the fucking public panels, bro. Stop doing all that. Oh, what do you think about him? These people are fucking insane. Oh, well, both sides are... No, these people are fucking insane. Dude, things are gonna get very... Do not speak politics at all in public. Do not do that shit. These people are fucking unwell. Protecting fucking dickheads stabbing Ukrainian girls in a bus. Protecting fucking shooters just because they think...
Who's protecting that guy? What person with any clout or influence is celebrating that shit? Honestly, drop him down below so we can clown him, because that person's a fucking idiot and a psychopath. And just like how when school shootings happen, you don't find people on the right celebrating that shit. Now you find extremists, for sure, and you can find extremists on Twitter and TikTok who might have been celebrating that shit. They're weirds. They're weirdos.
To the other gender, you people make me fuck.
That video that's on my Twitter now is absolutely just, I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. When I first saw that video, I thought it was AI. He's got a family, he's got a wife, he's got children.
Democrats say that
it was tragic, man.
Trump is starting a civil war, but they're the only ones that are making violent threats and having violent protests. And
what do you call January 6th? January 6th was an act of treason. It was a very violent event. There were people who were horribly injured as a result of this event.
People. These were great people. The crowd was unbelievable. And I mentioned the word love, the love in the air. I've never seen anything like it.
I know for a fact that conservatives like to play down January 6th. Nobody can listen to that speech that Donald Trump gave in its entirety prior to the inciting of the violence. and the season of the Capitol building. No one can listen to that and not see how he incited that shit. Furthermore, it took him quite a significant amount of time to call for people to stop. He let that shit go on for a little bit before he said anything.
At 4:17 p.m., after what we now know was hours of pleading from aides and allies, the president posts a video telling his followers to go home.
But you have to go home now. We have to have peace.
There was no immediate action that was done in order to quell the violence.
In all sorts of trouble. So who's really starting the civil war here?
Seeing people rejoice over Charlie Kirk getting shot just shows you that society lacks empathy. Like, how could you ever be happy somebody losing their life?
Well, Charlie Kirk said he didn't believe in empathy. We have to remember that.
I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage. But
you see, a lot of these people are giving these statements. I saw this one YouTuber named Maury. He gave his thoughts on the Charlie Kirk situation. He called Charlie Kirk a moderate. Charlie Kirk believes that God's perfect law can be found in Leviticus, where it says that homosexuals should be stoned to death.
Is in Leviticus 18, is that thou shalt lay with another man shall be stoned to death.
In Charlie Kirk's America, homosexuals will be stoned to death.
So Charlie Kirk just died 7 minutes ago. He was confirmed dead. Didn't like the guy. I don't disrespect the dead, though. I thought the nigga was going to survive. It was one shot. It was one shot right here. I thought the nigga was going to survive.
Fuck, bro. I mean, I didn't see the actual video of him getting shot close up until after I had posted my video. Anyone who saw that, I don't know how you thought he was going to survive that. That shit got him right in the jugular, bro. Right in the fucking jugular. Right in the artery. Either it was the vein or the artery. It's on the left side. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've taken anatomy class, but it's a major vessel for blood. And that shit was cutting off the oxygen going to his brain. He was done, bro. The second I saw that, I was like, oh yeah. Maybe if he was literally in the operating room of a hospital, then he had a chance. But there was no way he was going to make that, bro.
I ain't gonna lie. I hope that aside, prayers out to his family. I hope the shooter's not black. Y'all just killed the Hokage of the fucking... I pray that the shooter's not black.
Yeah, I had a similar sentiment. I expressed that in my video yesterday, how I was glad that the guy who they were putting on camera, the news was putting on camera as if he was the actual shooter, the old white guy. I was very relieved to see it wasn't a black person or a person of color, because we know that there are people on the right who are looking for a reason to kick off a civil war. These are people with nothing to lose. These are people who don't have wives. They don't have girlfriends. They don't make good money. They're bored. They feel disenfranchised. They feel disempowered. They can't get a date. They can't get a high-paying job, and they are looking for a way to have a reset in society, and they want to do it by force. They want a revolution to happen. That said, if it does end up being a black person, yeah, bro, the black fatigue, energy, all that shit, you know where that shit's going, man.
We have been through enough.
We all against violence. We all against gun violence, but then you support the same violence that just killed somebody because he had a take that you didn't agree with.
This is bad.
I never agreed with the nigga. I'm not happy to see another man die. Y'all are weird, bro.
Here's the thing. I do not demonize the people who are basically going, ha. Why? It's not that they're celebrating the gun violence. They are pointing and laughing at a man who didn't care about gun violence, who literally said that it's worth having some people, innocent people, murdered every year so that we can keep the status quo in regards to gun regulations. In fact, he wanted more freedoms in regards to current gun laws. He wanted laws to lax and even more in regards to gun regulation. And so when you're saying shit like that, and when you're pushing for agendas like that, I can see how someone would laugh, or why someone who was saying, hey man, this shit is killing children. Hey man, this is a danger to our society, when you end up being the victim of that shit. It would be like Charlie Kirk, or anybody for that matter, pushing for drunk driving, saying, hey, we need to raise the limit of alcohol you're allowed to have in your system when driving. And then that person is killed by a drunk driver. When other people were saying, hey, we need to stop, we need to reduce the amount of drunk drivers. We need stricter laws in regards to alcohol and driving. And he's demonizing those people and calling them all kinds of names and crazy and this, that, communist, this, that, and the third. And then boom, he dies because a drunk driver hit him. And so I get that. It's not tasteful. It's not tactful. I don't encourage that kind of behavior. You know what I mean? We're better than them. And so, yeah.
But I'm starting to see that a lot of people,
because this is, you got to understand, this is what the people on the right want. They're praying for people, progressives and liberals, to come out and be nasty, so they can. Because if everyone on the left was just like respectful and classy and sent their condolences and was being empathetic, the people on the right, they have nothing to do but just look at themselves. Oh shit, maybe we should have a conversation about looking into this gun regulation thing. Maybe we should at the very least do some more research. There isn't a lot of research on this shit. Maybe we should do some more research at the very least to have that dialogue, that conversation. But when you get on the internet and start gloating and celebrating and all that shit, that's where the conservative commentators, that's where they're going to focus, so that they don't actually deal with the problem. They're going to focus. Look at these fucking evil, cold-hearted, sick liberals that are mocking the death of this man for his Christian values.
Are literal monsters. Should we care when he didn't care? How I feel about people getting offed because of their social media opinions has nothing to do with how others feel about it and everything to do with how I feel about it. I don't think that you should get shot for having conservative views on social media. He wasn't a politician. He wasn't some corporate giant. He wasn't affecting your life at all.
Bullshit. Charlie Kirk wasn't impacting the trajectory of America. He was radicalizing thousands of young people every single fucking day, bro. Charlie Kirk was actively influencing people that were going to put political power in the hands of other people that influence how we are treated in this country. Even Donald Trump himself has attributed the efforts of Charlie Kirk to him winning the previous election. To say that Charlie Kirk was not having an impact on the lives of people, there are farmers that are starving and dying. His voters, by the way, in the middle of the country, they are suffering as a result of the tariffs that Donald Trump put into place.
Today, Arkansas farmers gathered to share their struggles with staffers from the state's congressional delegation, pleading for Arkansas lawmakers on Capitol Hill and the governor to convince President Trump to provide emergency funding to help them make it to next year.
We have to have ad hoc payments right now to make it through this year.
If there's no emergency funding this year, there will be 1 out of 3 farmers will file bankruptcy.
They are begging the government for handouts. They're begging for socialism. They're begging for a check in the mail. Because even though they're working their asses off, they can hardly make ends meet. Charlie Kirk helped to make that happen. You have American business owners who are struggling now because their business can hardly turn a profit because their profit margins have been shrunk due to the cost of production going up because of the tariffs. And so they either have to lose customers by raising the price of their products, which of course hurts the Americans who are relying on those products, or risk going out of business because they can hardly turn a profit anymore. Charlie Kirk helped to make that happen. So trying to pretend like a guy like Charlie Kirk and the shit he's saying does not have a negative impact on Americans in society is false. However, we can acknowledge that without calling for violence.
So I don't care if someone I hate gets assassinated in broad daylight and the video is shared everywhere. I think that that is wrong. Me, independently of who the person is. Y'all will get on this fucking app and talk down on the women who cheered on Kevin Samuel's death, but don't think you're doing the same thing to Charlie Kirk? A man with a family.
It's nasty. It's nasty. It's not a good look. It's not good, man. Nobody should want this to happen. It's not a solution, because you take out Charlie Kirk, there are fucking 100 other people ready to take his place. Just look at Jubilee. But all you've done is charge them up. You know what I'm saying?
Like, y'all, that's cool shit to y'all? Do y'all really get that mad at people on social media? Are your lives really that miserable? I want you all to know. Unless someone has done something to me in real life, I have never wished death on anybody on social media. People have said wild things to me. People have inboxed me crazy shit. I never wish them to actually die. I understand that the internet is real life.
What are we doing, you guys? I'm not saying what are we doing, but I'm talking about Charlie Kirk. The person who is trying to educate a generation of people has been shot on live television. If you guys could see the stuff on X right now, at this point, the Democratic Party should be viewed as a terrorist organization. The stuff that we're seeing in this country is not normal.
See, again, more bullshit, man. We don't even know who did it. They're ready to pin it on the Democrat Party. You're talking about tens of millions of people, the actions of this one person. And you can look around her neck and see what's there. This, of course, is a crucifix. Why do I point that out? Christianity is a tool that has been used to brainwash black people. I'm just going to say it. It's because he talks about Jesus and loving the Lord. You close your eyes and ears to the blatant bigotry and racism and bullshit. You don't go and educate yourself on the misinformation. You talking about educating a generation. Charlie Kirk is obsessed with the black community. Oh, they make up 13% of the population, but 50% of the people in prison for murder are black. Yeah, well, 85 to 95% of the victims of black murderers are black people. This is stuff happening in gang-infested areas that have nothing to do with Charlie or white America.
Yes, about half of all prisoners are black.
Exactly.
So blacks commit more crimes than whites do. They commit more murders, they commit more arsons, they commit more kidnappings. For example, blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders.
Okay, let's talk about it. Here's the reality. Over 80% of white people are killed by white people. That's the reality of the situation. Why don't you ever hear about white and white crime, right? In 2022, 81% of white murder victims were killed by white offenders. That's a reality. If you're a white person and you're worried about getting murdered, you need to look in the mirror. That's what Charlie Kirk should have did. That's the reality of it. And I promise you, I bet money this guy got offed by a white guy. I promise you, bro. You know, if I'm wrong, I'll take it back. But shit, that's what I mean, that's what the statistics would predict. It shouldn't come as a surprise if he's white. 81%. And it's not because 20% or 19% of the people who kill white people are black, 15%. So you still got 4% of people that account for other races as well. So why is it that Charlie Kirk is so fixated? How do you fix this? How do we fix white on white crime? How do we fix the 81% of white people that are being killed by white people? Charlie Kirk don't talk about that. No, he wants his white base to be afraid of black people when the black people out there who are murderers, which again is less than fucking 0.6% of the entire black population. Less than 1% of the entire black population is currently in prison for any crime. Of that, about 60% of them are in prison for violent crimes. So less than 0.6% of the entire population of black people are violent people. That we have proof for, right? In the form of what the legal system. Anything else you want to speculate is your own fucking imagination. All the evidence you have is what we have recorded by the courts. And so when that's the case, and when 80% of white people who are victims of murder or violent crimes are victims at the hands of their own kind, why does Charlie Kirk love to talk so much about black murder and black crime and over policing them? Why does he care so much? It's because he's a racist, and he's using racism to push his political agenda. That's who Charlie Kirk is. He wants to make you afraid. Oh, it's always them. It's always them. Usual suspects. No, white man, you're the usual suspect when it comes to your kind being hurt. You hurt yourself. It is a white president that is starving farmers in the middle of this country. It is white men that are more than likely going to kill you. It is your white women that do not want to reproduce with you, which is why your birth rates are dropping and why you're being out reproduced by brown people. This has nothing to do with us. Those problems have nothing to do with any other community but your own. It is your own people that are destroying you and hurting you. But Charlie Kirk was being used as a tool by the elite to blind you to the truth, blind you to who where your real problems are, create enemies out of fucking trans people that make up literally 0.000 whatever percent of the population, or black people who literally you don't even fucking interact with, while the elites steal your money, enrich themselves, and make your life harder. That's who Charlie Kirk was.
The Democratic Party is a terrorist group. They are a
Okay, man.
terrorist organization.
Wow, that's insane. And I don't consider myself a Democrat, but I am progressive. That ain't no duh, obviously. Once you're freed from this, it's impossible for you to be a conservative black person. It's impossible.
You guys fucked around and are about to find the fuck out. What the fuck do you mean you shot Charlie? Oh my god, bro. They marched on the Capitol just because Trump said so. What the fuck do you think they're about to do now that Charlie Kirk is dead? First of all, the man did not deserve to die over not believing in abortion or LGBT. I'm gonna say that right now. But second of all,
that ain't why he died. There are plenty of people walking around with those beliefs and have no worry about being assassinated by anybody. That's the reality of it. Stop misrepresenting what happened. He didn't deserve to die. This ain't how we should operate as a country, obviously. But that ain't why he died, man.
You stupid motherfuckers made him a fucking martyr. I actually fucked with Charlie.
I agree with that.
But
I'm not surprised there, though, that you fuck with him.
See how we all did all of that in DC for George Floyd? It's about to get so much fucking worse. Lock your doors and good luck to everyone supporting and celebrating his fucking...
Now, here's where coons need to have a wake-up call. If you think that you get to be a part of the coalition, you're wrong. Initially, yes, cooning will get you a seat at the table in the beginning. In this world, see, this is really just a function of fear of white people. You're afraid of white people. And so you believe that when these white people get fed up and are ready to do their civil war or whatever the fuck, that by you loudly broadcasting that, oh, I'm one of the good ones, I'm not with these other people who want civil rights and shit like that, I'm with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Christian. I don't believe in, gay people should be together. I don't believe in abortion, all of that, Yeah, that will get you a seat at the table initially. But you have to understand, just all you have to do is study World War II and look at the evolution of the Nazi Party. It got more extreme with time. As power is claimed through violence and authoritarianism, then it becomes concentrated in a smaller and smaller group of people. And the people who are typically able to acquire that power are the people who are the most extreme, the most savage, who are willing to go the furthest, who are the most corrupt. These are going to be these are your Nick Fuenteses. These are your white supremacists. Basically these guys are just trying to secure their position in the house as the house niggas. But look, you're going to get kicked out. you will be fed the scraps. You'll be treated like shit. House niggas got treated horribly. They just got treated a little bit better than the field niggas. But it ain't don't think for a second you gonna be equal. You're not going to be equal. You will be a pet. You will be tolerated at best. You have to understand the people that end up being tools to put certain people in power, like a Stalin, like a Hitler, they end up turning on the people that put them in power. And so, like I said earlier in this video, Charlie Kirk was someone who was hated by people on the most extreme right, like KKKs, because they felt like he wasn't extreme enough. You're looking at guys like Charlie and saying, oh, well, Charlie, he worked with Brandon Tatum. He don't hate black people. In Charlie Kirk's America, I'm not getting kicked out. I'm not getting put in concentration camps. I'm not getting all my human rights stripped from me. He's a good God-fearing man. Charlie Kirk isn't the guy who ends up running this shit, bro. In that world? No. And he's Oppenheimer. You know what I'm saying? Like, he helps to create the nuclear bomb and then has the epiphany when it's too late that he just put horrible amount of, power in the hands of horrible people who don't have the same end goal vision of him. You got to remember, Christianity and Christian values were used by Hitler to win over people. And then we see what that turned into. That's what y'all need to understand, man. Y'all trying to position to be house niggas thinking y'all gonna have, you know what I'm saying, a good life in their America. You will not.
People like that respond to fear and terror and aggression, not logic and empathy and, I don't know, intelligence. It doesn't work for them. So fear works. So if we all get our guns and use our Second Amendment right and our common sense, at this point, this administration is begging us to rise up and revolt.
See, this woman here, this woman is a fucking psychopath, though. This woman is crazy.
And you see somebody
like, this is such stupid, evil shit that she's saying right here.
with a MAGA hat. Pew, pew.
But of course, then this house nigga right here is going to use her and say, this is all Democrats. This is all progressive people. These are all non-Christians. This is what they believe. This is what they think.
That's what we do. That's the way. It's the only way. Put them back in their basements, make them scared again.
You know, what drives somebody to become so extreme about half the country? Like, think about that for a second. And yes, she could have something mentally wrong with her. That is a possibility. But the bigger thing I want to focus on is the Democrats' messaging. Their messaging is very emotional. Rather than attacking issues, they attack people. Rather than saying, hey, your idea sucks, they tell their base that you're evil.
I mean, that's literally what the right does, though. They literally call, Charlie Kirk literally calls people who don't agree with him sinners who have the wrath of God abiding upon them, awaiting to be destroyed in eternal torture and torment. He literally believes they're evil. He literally believes trans people, gay people are evil. This is what they teach. This is what they push.
Affirms God's perfect law when it comes to sexual matter. Is in Leviticus 18, is that thou shalt lay with another man shall be stoned to death.
So what are you talking about here?
Racist. You're a bigot. You're a Nazi. You're like Hitler. The party and their messaging has become very extreme.
Well, you are a bigot.
Shall be stoned to death.
Yeah. No, it is bigoted to... There are many bigoted positions that are embraced on the right. Let's not pretend like that's not the case.
Extreme. And this is one of the reasons why they're bleeding voters. But a lot of their content is so extreme and emotionally manipulative that it gets people to think things like this. Ask yourself, why were we not seeing multiple assassination attempts on Kamala Harris? Why not? It's not because she's good and Trump's bad. It's because one side demonizes the other side so much to their own base that base then thinks that these people quite literally will destroy the country, put people back in chains, and do horrible things to people. The Democrats emotionally manipulate.
I mean, I'm not going to deny that there are probably bad actors on the left who have influence, who do make this shit sound like it's okay. And if there are people like that, one person that comes to mind is Hassan Abi. Allegedly, this guy has a long history of speaking in such a way as to normalize political violence. I remember when Donald Trump got shot and that firefighter lost his life in the crowd, Destiny said something that was very inflammatory and sounded as if he was celebrating it. Definitely people who speak like that are not helping. But I'm not going to say there isn't any legitimacy to what he is saying, that the language on both sides has become very extreme. I mean, let's just take a look at what ChatGPT has to say. In recent history in America, I asked it, has there been more political acts of violence committed by people on the left or the right based on evidence? And this is what it brought back, right? The preponderance of credible data shows more U.S. political violence, especially deadly extremist violence, has come from the right than the left in recent years. Guys, this is reality. If you're on the right and you've been consuming this narrative that the left is the party of violence, Democrats are the party of violence, that is just not reality. You need to wake up. Here, according to the ADL, Anti-Defamation League, in 2023 and again in 2024, all identified extremist-related murders were linked to what the ADL classifies as the far right, many with white supremacist ties. Looking across the years, ADL consistently finds a strong right-wing majority of extremist homicides, right? But here, let's take a look at this. This one is backed by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. That's where this data is coming from. And what do they say? The DHS Homeland Threat Assessment 2025 and the NIJ, which is the National Institute of Justice, summaries emphasize racially and ethnically motivated violent extremists, especially white supremacists, as the most persistent and lethal domestic threat. This is coming from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the National Institute of Justice. American-funded programs, information, data, research during a Trump Republican presidency. This is what they had to say. So when sellouts like this get on the internet and find random crazy people on TikTok or Twitter saying goofy shit and then wants to paint that as reality, the Democrat Party, the people on the left is the side of violence, blah, blah, blah. They're just lying. And they're a part of the problem.
In his life, Charlie Kirk had a major influence. And I'm telling you right now, I'm looking at the culture right now, and I'm seeing that Charlie Kirk is probably going to have more influence even in his death than he did in his life.
Yeah, for sure.
Never seen so many people, even people that look like me, so furious and fed up about this rhetoric. And the reason why this is going to resonate so much is because the man didn't do anything.
But they're not furious about all the death and destruction that is being committed by far-right extremists, which, again, I already showed you. They are committing the grand majority of it. They're not fed up about that shit, though.
He was just talking. He was just speaking his opinion, something that we are all entitled to, something that we all should be able to do. And the things that he said and the influence over the people that are about to start coming into power, I'm talking about young people. I'm talking about when he was going to these colleges and giving people a different opinion that they weren't getting anywhere else. They were paying $40,000, $50,000 to these colleges and weren't hearing these opinions, and now it's being articulated by this guy at a level they never seen before. And that's how he affected people in life. But even the people whose minds he didn't change with his words, in death, it seems like he's changing some of their mind. And that's what we all hope to live for. That's what we all hope to do in our lives. That's a life worth living.
Yeah, man. And again, this is why what you resist persists. This is why this isn't the answer, because he's 100% right. This is not going to de-radicalize a single conservative. There's not a single person who on the right is now, as a result of this, moved more to the left. They're either all in the same place or went more right. But there are people on the left, people who aren't very educated, people who are easily influenced, people who are easily swept up by emotions and events and shit like that, that they are going to be moved to the right. They are going to buy into these false narratives being pushed by people on the right that the left is a side of violence, when most of the political murders and violence that has occurred within recent history has been committed by conservatives and people on the right. They're going to buy into all the lies, all the bigotry, all the foolishness. You know, so we need to live from the end collectively as a people. Don't allow fear to consume you. Again, my condolences to his wife and children.